around a lot of really, really good players entering camp year after year after year, you quickly find out how much he enjoys practice and he enjoys the process of all this. I think that started before even camp began, that I could see that. He appreciates just how it all looks and feels and comes together, being with his teammates. So I don't know if I didn't anticipate that, I just didn't know prior to being around, and when you get into these years, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, some of these guys have been in a lot of camps, and I think that's been something that we've taken away from week one, is just how involved he is with the group and how he approaches every day in a professional, serious manner.
How often have you guys had like a one-on-one, maybe off to the side, where you were saying to him, hey, look, I need this from you, and he's saying, well, that back and forth and figuring out things?
I know that started day one. It didn't just start here, practice, I got the job in June. That is, that partnership and relationship started early and continues every day. I'm learning him. It's more me asking questions and watching film to see how he has played and then taking stuff to him. But he knows he can come in and ask anytime, all of us, any information that we get on any player during practice, out of practice, they hopefully know that they can come in and be a participant in what we're building.
Last thing I had was the film work that you're doing from each day in camp. What things are you looking for in the film that then you end up applying the next day?
We're just starting with the bigger rocks. There's mistakes that happen, especially when you're coaching the offense and the defense. When you're playing sons on sons, there's a lot of film to look at. I think initially it's just our initial style of play and how we want to play. And I think we're emphasizing that every day in multiple different ways. And we'll really see when it gets to game time. That's the important piece. When we get to Friday and we see against another team, is our style of play sticking? Does it fit with our group?
I know each job has its unique challenges and circumstances, but this job seems interesting from your perspective because outside of Booker, which obviously the sun kind of revolves around him, but outside of Booker's role being kind of obvious, it really seems like a blank canvas. Like this roster could go lots of different ways. There's no set roles really. I mean, do you feel that way, that you've got a lot of kind of freedom, maybe even more so, to shape this roster in the way that you see fit?
I think that it's what we do as coaches. It's like, you're trying to be the best you can with your 5 guys on the court versus the other 5 guys on the court. So, it changes. It changes mid-game. Pick and roll coverages change mid-game. Your substitution patterns change. So our whole goal is whoever's on the opposite side, we're beating them. So it's our 5 versus their 5. And our roster does have a lot of versatility. And the youth is apparent. And it's also means we have a lot of new guys on our roster. There's not a ton of continuity. So I think early on in this that we get as many reps as we can against each other, but keeping the big rocks to big rocks. Like the competitiveness and aggressiveness of this group is how they got here. A lot of guys, that's how they got here. So that's a bonus, and we got to keep that the main thing.
What are your first impressions of Rasheer?
Yeah, Rasheer from day one, you can see when he walks in the building that his length is there. 7'5" wingspan, moves very well. I think what I saw a lot on film too with him in college is he played on the perimeter, which is not always the case with a guy that size. He's going to be challenged to guard some of the best players in the world when he's out there on the court. So there'll be a learning curve to that, but he can get through some of that with his day-to-day approach, which is high level, create professional habits, and then his just overall energy and enthusiasm to attack. Doesn't matter which assignment it is. He has great example. Like Ryan Dunn is a great example for him to mimic, in this first year.
Coach, what have you seen so far just with Jalen Green and Book being able to work off each other and build that chemistry?
I think it is where we want it to be. It's both of them handling at different times, and they're trying to figure each other out. They've basically stayed on the same team the entire time, these first 5 days. We want to play so fast that it's really who the inbounder or who the rebounder sees first, and then whoever gets it brings it. We'll have some simple triggers, and they're learning. They're learning, okay, Jalen has it, so Book is here. Book has it. Where's Jalen going? Now Jalen has to work off the ball. Book's more comfortable off the ball than Jalen at times. And we're implementing a new style of play for everyone. So our movement patterns, where the ball goes, is different for everyone. And Book's just a more veteran player at this time off the ball. That I think that's something that we have to continue to work with Jalen on, because we know with the ball he's extremely explosive. He has the ability to get downhill, which we'll definitely need.
Back to Dwayne's question about embracing practice. In your experience, do you still have great players that aren't great at practice, embracing practice? I mean, are there any Allen Iversons left?
I mean, not the great players I've been around. So the great players I've been around are professionals that come in shape, come to camp with a focus. They come with a helping hand, helping other people, and they're trying to find solutions all together. Coaches, players to players. It has to work and make sense for the best players for the right reasons, because they've seen it all. So I haven't been around those guys, and obviously Book is not that. He always comes in ready to rock.
I get the sense that,
Last one.
I could be wrong, but I get the sense you're itching for Friday. Like you want to see it on the floor. Are all the main guys going to play that first game, or are you holding some guys out?
Well, I think, Dwayne, what we have is a little different preseason because of our China trip and because of that fourth game after. That puts a little curveball in all this. We have to get our guys ready in our group faster than probably normal. We obviously started early, but we only have 3 games. That fourth game is going to be different. You fly back from China, 2 days later you play. So I think our minutes will be organized and scheduled out here these first couple games, because we need to get them there. We need to get them there fast. So Friday will be a good test. Depending on who they play, they started camp a little later. So we want to play against someone else at the end of this camp. At the end of the day, 7, 8 straight practices against the same teammates. I think they'll all be ready to play someone else.
So the main guys that play that first game.
I think everything, like we've seen in camp, everyone's here. We're going to play whatever minutes that is, as hard as we possibly can. But we're not going to go overboard and play someone, their maximum minutes here right off the bat.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jordan.
Yep. Thank you all.